All right, last week we know that President Obama signed his executive order which would give 5 million illegals some sort of pathway to citizenship, right? So here's the deal. This was done via an executive order. This was not sent to Congress. This was right after the Democrats had a huge loss, right? And the public, first of all, spoke after the last 6 years of what Obama's doing, and they said, you know what, we're sick of it. We're sick of the Democrat Party. And my view is both parties suck. But the public saying, you know what, we hate Republicans and Democrats, but the Democrats have been horrific the last few years. And they threw them out, especially with healthcare premiums rising, which the president misled the public on. We see the president mislead the American people on what he would do for immigration purposes, right? He said he wouldn't act via executive orders, and he did. And this kind of reminds me of crashing and burning of George Bush, right? George Bush was really unpopular 2006, 2007, but he kept on going his own stubborn ways. And George Bush reminds me of Barack Obama. Let's look at some executive polls, or some polls that I looked at. Alright, so let's look at this. 2006's, right? It was in the 40% range, a little above 40%, and then it dropped down to around like 32, 33, then it went back up in the 40s, then it went down towards the end of the year. So somewhere around like 35, 36%. So that is not too great if you look at it on the surface. And then we all know what happened in 2008, where his approval rating went as low as, let's look at this over here, 25%. This was the time when the whole economy was crashing and burning, right around the time where the president election was occurring. How, or what a coincidence, right? Conspiracy or not? Okay, now we want to go to Barack Obama's poll ratings. And if you want to look at where he's at right now, alright, Barack Obama, remember he was at its high, right? And then his 23rd quarter rating was around 41.5%. And that really is near Bush levels if you look at it. Alright, I'm at Gallup, by the way, Gallup.com, that's doing the polling. But anyways, if you want to look at some notes that Gallup has, you could see them here. Barack Obama averaged 41.5% approval during his 23rd quarter. Obama has had only 2 lower quarterly averages. His 23rd quarter ranks among the lowest for post-World War II presidents. So, there we go. Barack Obama, in his 23rd quarter, which was between July 20th and October 29th, right? This is showing that he ain't doing too well compared to even Bush at this time. And we know how Bush wound up. And we know how Obama is going against the American public in general. Just like Bush went against the American public. I mean, Bush had initial increase in approval after the surge strategy when Petraeus came in. But that was too little too late, even though a lot of people were still against that strategy in general. They said, why the hell are we in Iraq? Well, we're still in Iraq 7 years later with no exit plan whatsoever, or we've been told of an exit plan, but I don't know. I guess it must be the petrodollar system of why we're still in the Mideast, right? To threaten other countries that, hey, you don't go by our command, or if you don't want our dollars, fine, we're gonna invade you, right? That's the mindset that I have right now. Regardless of whatever's going on behind closed doors and what's going on in the mind of the military-industrial complex when it comes to the petrodollar system, which no one really talks about, by the way, we should look at other aspect in terms of the stock market and Dow. So I looked at the political landscape. I looked at the fact that Barack Obama is going down the tubes when it comes to his approval rating. And this approval rating does not include what people think about this executive order on amnesty. And I'm sure it's going to go down the tubes. And this does not include the Gruber situation, right? People have forgotten about Gruber now. This is how crazy it is. Last week, people were talking about Gruber, and that's put down to the side. Now it's executive orders. So this is what's going on. Media's only focused on immigration, but before that was healthcare, and healthcare prices have gone up. So healthcare prices have gone up, and the only way it passed was because gullible white people voted for it, as Gruber indicated. He didn't say white people, but you know what I'm trying to say. So gullible white people went along with Obama. We see Obama jam this executive order down our throats without going to Congress, or without Congress approving it, which should have been the case if you're going to pass a controversial bill like this, right? It has to go to Congress. Congress needs to read these bills. And long story short, I mean, I'm bashing here on Obama, but Republicans did the same thing with the Patriot Act, so it's not like I'm just bashing Democrats here. I bash both parties equally. But now let's try to look at the stock market, right? I'm saying that, okay, Obama is going to crash and burn, right? Politically. His approval ratings are going to go down to George Bush levels. And we know what happened in 2008, right, with the market. It just crashed, right? Now, we don't need to see a crash this time around, but we could see 30-some% correction in the stock market. I wouldn't be surprised, right? Obama's going down the tubes, stock market goes down the tubes. Let's just look at the market now. I've shown this graph multiple time after time, or time after time. And my thesis is, for the past few years, is that the Dow and the S&P, it's only following what's coming from the Bank of Japan, liquidity from the Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan is acting ridiculous right now. I mean, they're saying that we're going to buy American stocks, we're going to buy every freaking thing out there, right? And I'm just looking at it from 2014. I do have other graphs from 2011, 2012, where the dollar yen was around like 76, right? And right now the dollar yen is close to like 117-ish, right? But if you want to look at the dollar yen is in blue, the Dow is in red here. So that starts off earlier this year at 105 in blue, Dow 16,500. As you can see, this chart of the Dow goes tandem, not in tandem, but you could see an interesting relationship right now is that the Dow seems to go up as the yen weakens. See over here, 105. Where is it now? 117. Dow 16.5. Now Dow is at like 17.8. So we've seen, what is it, a 10% increase, depreciation of the yen, a little more than that. And we've seen roughly, I don't know, 8% increase in the Dow during that same time frame. And you can see here, look, remember when that Ebola scare came out, there's a correction in the marketplace, right? And then all of a sudden, dollar yen started to pick up, like 106, went to 107, just like that in a straight freaking line. The Dow Jones Industrial followed like that. And that's when they said that, hey, Abenomics, we're going to continue to print like psychotics, right? So they said that we're going to print like psychotics. What? Market goes up. And we know that this will not go up in a straight line, right? Unless they decide to hyperinflate their currency, the Japanese. But if you want to look at it from a surface, like I mentioned, Bush crashed and burned in 2008, right? Remember, his poll ratings just went down the tubes. Barack Obama is heading down that way. And conspiracy theory or not, as you see a loss of confidence in the political system, the most likely outcome, in my opinion, is that we're going to see, guess what? The dollar yen, as crazy as this sounds, I wouldn't be surprised if you see an appreciation of the dollar yen in the interim. We know that the Japanese are going to destroy and debilitate their currency. But before they do that, I do believe there's going to be at least one more correction, right? Where the yen carry trade unwinds, meaning that the dollar yen goes lower. Right now it's going higher, but it's going to go lower in my opinion right now. I have said that, hey, Japanese is going to get hyperinflation, this and that, and I do think there's going to be one more time where it appreciates, but we shall see what happens, right? But anyways, I do feel that we see a correction in the dollar yen, feel a correction in the Dow as well. What would that mean? Liquidity would be draining out of the US stock market. And as a result, Dow would go down. And once again, I feel that it's going to go down around 30-35% from the top. Some people are saying that we're getting close to the top. I thought we got to the top earlier this year, but we haven't gotten to the top yet. But all in all, would I personally be buying the dips here right now? No, I'm not going to be doing that. I mean, the thing is that unless people are trading, I don't think I would feel comfortable with my own money going long excessively. I know some people are going all in short. I don't know if I'm going to be all in short right now. I don't feel comfortable doing that right now. But long story short, would I be betting the farmer and going long? No. Would I be betting the farmer and going short? No. I mean, I have a bias to being short right now, even though everyone's long. But after this Christmas season, who knows? I do see downside coming within the next few years, but we shall see. I could be wrong. Just need to point that out. So whoever is listening to me, don't invest based on what I'm saying. This is just my own thought process, and I just want to hear from you guys. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know. Leave your thoughts. Talk to you later. Bye.